Hello, my name is Zukel, and this is my first ever YouTube video. After years and years of procrastinating, I finally decided to bite the bullet and make a YouTube channel. This coronavirus has given us a lot of time on our hands, so all those things that we put on the back shelf or just thought of as an idea or a fantasy, we finally can now actually give it a shot. So now is the time. When I decided, okay, let me do a YouTube channel, I was kind of like, okay, what am I going to talk about? Like what? And I realized that during this crisis there is so much negative thoughts that people are having because either they're worried about their jobs, and it is so important to stay positive. And I realized for me that there are a couple things that really helped me with my sanity, and that was having like a good support system with my mom and my friends, watching all the little TikTok videos and dances that I cannot do but I'm there in spirit, and also my faith. And so I realized, why not just make the first couple of videos about like how I became a Christian, and why for me that has been the thing that's like really kept me grounded during many different trials, but especially during this crisis, this self-isolation quarantine. And that's what I will dedicate the first couple of videos to talk about. So let's get started. Before we jump into how I became a Christian, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. My name is Zukel. I live in sunny, oh my god, it's hot, my makeup is melting, Florida. I actually work in the healthcare industry, so this whole crisis kind of touches home for a lot of people. And I love all things travel. I think you need to explore, learn different cultures, solo travel. I believe in all of that. I'm also really family oriented. I love my mom and my family. And I'm also working on bringing down my debt. I'm a part of the whole Dave Ramsey's debt-free journey, and I'll probably talk more about that in later videos. I actually still remember the age I was when I became a Christian, and I actually grew up in like a quote-unquote Christian household. What I mean by that is that I grew up knowing my grandmother as the church. My grandmother was the evangelist, she was the preacher, she was the prophetess, she was the choir. Like, my grandma was the church to me. Going to her house on the weekends and in the summer, it was like going to a retreat and going to church. Like, she was such a strong believer. I remember people coming to her house specifically for prayer requests. And for those of you who don't know, that's like when you go to someone who you know has like a real strong connection with God or whatever, and you give them a prayer request to pray for you on behalf of this, and usually you give like a monetary donation for them to do it. And so I grew up seeing all of those things. However, in my own household with my mom, she did not force us to go to church at all. Like, I can count on maybe like both hands from the age of 5 to like going away to college the times I actually was like, wake up, you're going to church. She didn't force it on us because it was forced upon her. So it wasn't until I actually got to college that I became a Christian, and at that time I was about 19 years old. So becoming an actual Christian is something that you actually have to partake in. Like, you have to make that decision for yourself. So if you've ever been to church and they ask anyone if they want to get like saved, that is that decision that you have to make. And I still remember me making that decision. I was at a Bible study that the person who did my hair at the time invited us to. I wasn't a part of any church. I was, living my life, but she invited us to Bible study, and I was like, sure, why not? And prior to that happening, like, I think I maybe went to like 1 or 2 other services before. And for me, when I would go to church, I would get really emotional. Don't know why, I would get really emotional, and it was like this pulling effect. And so I remember like every time I would go, I would have to like try really hard to not cry, but it was hard. And so at this particular Bible study, I was a wreck. Like I was crying. I was just like crying my eyes out. It was this overwhelming feeling of like just feeling miserable. And I remember someone came up behind me and asked me like, oh, you know, do you want to become a Christian? Do you want to have a relationship with God? And I was like, yes. And they showed me like a scripture about baptism. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get baptized. So that same day that I made the decision that yes, I want to have a relationship with God, I also got baptized. And I remember the sweater I was wearing. I remember that my earrings were red. The reason why I remember it so vividly is because after the whole baptism, I think I went to Applebee's with a friend and I called my mom to tell her like, hey, I just got baptized. And she was kind of like, are you sure that's something you want to do? And I was like, mom, shouldn't you be happy? And she's like, no, she is happy for me, but she wants me to take it seriously. And she knew that time that I was a young college student, like living life, exploring things. And so she wanted to make sure that I was willing to take my decision seriously and not just kind of like a toss it in the wind type of thing. So what initially changed for me when I made that decision and like months following is, no lie, like I legit just felt more calm and more at peace with things. And peace is actually like a gift of the spirit. So I didn't know it at the time, but I was just like more, things are okay, things will be okay. And I know it sounds really weird, but the whole like having a relationship with God, it became this like living, breathing thing. And it sounds weird, I know, I sound bat-ish crazy, I know, but it became this living thing for me. And it was like a tangible thing, but also intangible. Really like a new relationship and you're just getting to know each other and you're really into the relationship. That's how it was for me. I do remember that I think maybe I gave up drinking for like a year, not all the way, another story. I gave up drinking for like a year. I stopped clubbing, which wasn't too difficult. It was just, I think, the social aspect of not hanging out with your friends. So I gave up those changes as well. But I still at that time was like not a part of a church yet. So I hope you enjoyed learning just a little bit more about me. In my next video, I'll answer some more questions about where I am on this faith journey, the things I believe in, don't believe in, different things that I've encountered. And please like, share, and subscribe. And also leave a comment if you remember the age you decided to have a personal relationship with God, and what do you remember about that decision. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back with a next video if I can stay disciplined enough to do this. Bye.